Side-scrolling platforms have been around since the beginning of the gaming industry. While the genre has lost popularity in recent times in favor of more exciting games, Cuphead manages to bring back the genre with a new take on old techniques. Cuphead is a run-and-gun, role-playing game developed and published by Studio MDHR and was originally released on September 29, 2017 for the PC and Xbox One. While the game sticks to the typical tropes of side-scrolling genres, one unique aspect of the game is its art style. The game features a theme reminiscent of old 1930s cartoons. What makes it even more special is the fact that the creators stuck with animation techniques developed by Walt Disney himself. Each character and their animations were hand-drawn by Shad Mollenhauer and his team, using an old-school form of animation known as cell animation. Furthermore, while not easily noticeable by an average user, the animations are shown in 24 FPS in order to more accurately depict the cartoons from the era. Modern games are displayed in 60 FPS to give a more slick, real-life feeling. However, the creators stuck to their beliefs of keeping it old school to give the players a level of surrealism. Holding true to their core values and the thematics of the 30s, the soundtrack is comprised of live jazz recordings that sound something straight out of a jazz bar from the era. Its upbeat tempo, paired with exciting gameplay, help the player immerse themselves in the magic circle of the game. While the art style is unique, the visuals and sounds are not the only thing special about Cuphead. The game features boss battles and side-scrolling levels, where each level has its own set of challenges. Because of these challenges, the difficulty of Cuphead requires a higher degree of skill. The game is designed so that each of the levels provides a new and different experience from the last. The difficulty of the game causes the player to die quite frequently, forcing the player to learn the sequence in which a boss fight is leveled or structured. Using this knowledge, the player can come up with a technique and loadout that best fits their playstyle in order to overcome these challenges. The player has a wide variety of weapons and upgrades, allowing them for a more diverse approach when playing the game. This level of customization allows the player to choose a style of gameplay more tailored to their liking. Some loadouts will allow the player to more easily complete levels. For example, when fighting Beppy the Clown, one portion of the level has balloon dogs chase after the player. The shotgun weapon is the most effective tool due to its ability to hit multiple targets up close. However, this weapon is also very limited in range, and it's ineffective in other parts of the boss fight, such as the bumper car and Ferris wheel segments. Similar to most side-scrolling games, Cuphead takes place in a 2D continuous game space. There are two kinds of levels. The most frequent type of level are boss fights, a shoot-'em-up style of game where the players control Cuphead in the air or on land. The air boss fights utilizes different types of weapons and specials, where the player can really freely roam anywhere in the space. The second type of game, the run and gun, is a side-scrolling adventure. In these levels, the players must make it across the map without dying. Cuphead allows its players to use either the keyboard or a game controller. This provides a sense of customization as players can pick whatever setup they are more comfortable using. Players can access different levels on the 2D map, as well as the shop to buy new abilities and perks. The death screen is an integrated outcome of the game as it displays a player's progress through their previous run. This will tell the player how many stages of the level they have completed and how many more to go. The main objects in the game are Cuphead and his brother, Mugman, characters the players can control. The static attributes of these game objects are that their appearances will remain the same, even when damaged. There are dynamic attributes of Cuphead and Mugman. In their airplane modes, these game objects are able to switch between a tiny plane or a large plane. In the tiny plane mode, the ranges of weapons decreases dramatically as well as its damage. However, the smaller plane is more mobile, making it easier for the player to dodge attacks. The interactions between Cuphead and other game objects can be quite comedic and alerting. When taking damage, the character will flinch and a sound effect of a cup or plate breaking will play along with it. When the characters are firing their loadouts, a finger gun animation occurs and the direction of the finger gun will direct their attack. The bars at the bottom of the screen display a character's current state. These bars indicate the player's health points, and the super meter uses the number of cards to tell the player how many specials they can use. When a boss transforms itself, this signifies the player has passed a stage. This is a discernible outcome. The game features a linear embedded storyline, on where the only progression occurs after completing a level. A player cannot make any meaningful decisions, influencing the ending of the game, resulting in low player agency. While their decisions are not meaningful, the overall gameplay is not focused on making decisions. Rather, it's focused on beating and accomplishing levels. The goal of the game is quickly established in the intro sequence of the game. It begins with Cuphead and his brother getting themselves into trouble while gambling in the Devil's Casino. They make a gamble with their souls on the line and end up losing. In an attempt to escape their fate, they bargain with the devil, and he agrees to spare them on the condition that they become his new debt collectors. The premise of the game is now set. The players must go around and collect the devil's debts. The actions of the game are fairly simple. Operative actions include cycling through different loadouts and shooting enemies with character abilities. Resultant actions include the use of normal attacks, where aimed properly can deal damage to enemies. In addition to your foes, hitting enemies builds up your super meter. These super attacks vary depending on the current loadout of the player. Another crucial action is the parry move. This allows the player to counter any pink object in the game. Not only does this prevent the pink projectile from damaging the character, it also builds up the super meter and allows the character to use it as a jumping point, increasing the overall height the player can jump. Specific attacks and super attacks can only be used by spending charged cards in the super meter. Special attacks spends 1 fully charged card, while the ultimate attack requires 5 cards. These special attacks are typically amped up versions of the current loadout. The super attack varies depending on the perk selected in the loadout. Another resulting action, only available in 2-player mode, allows the player to revive their fallen friend should they ever perish during the game. However, they only revive with 1 health. The player must play the game using only weapons and perks provided in the game. In each round, their loadout can only consist of 2 types of shots, a maximum of 1 super attack and 1 charm ability. These charm abilities range from dashes to extra health, and different kinds can be bought in the store. The player can move freely in 2D space, running, jumping, and dashing as many times as they want. When they are in the air, they can fight and move freely. Foundational rules are established by using the health and super meters to determine the game's current state. While not visually depicted, damage done to the boss is quantified by the computer, where the next stage will not occur unless enough damage has been dealt. Within each level, the player loses a health point when they are hit by enemy objects. The health bar tells the player how much health they currently have. In single player mode, if the player loses all their health points, they lose and must restart from the very beginning of the level. However, in 2-player mode, the second player has a chance to revive them if they can approach the ghost of their fallen comrade and parry the ghost, reviving them back to life. There is a small degree of chance in the game. Some bosses don't follow a linear stage progression. Instead, they will have an array of different stages, in which the game will randomly spawn these stages. This doesn't have a huge impact on the game, as some of these elements are fairly similar to one another in terms of difficulty, and they do not increase or decrease the amount of stages per iteration. A persona of someone who enjoys this game would be a player who enjoys challenges, excitement, and competition. While not imperative to the core gameplay, each level has a grading scheme based off certain requirements. These are time, health, and number of parried objects. This type of gamer would enjoy achieving A+ in every level, in various difficulties. Also, another challenge, known as the Pacifist Challenge, requires the player to harm no NPCs in each of their run and gun levels. These achievements can make the game much more challenging, making the idea of completing it such a big achievement. This also provides the player with a replayability, as the player can go back and replay the game, striving to outdo their own top scores. The nature of side-scrolling and run-and-gun games, coupled with Cuphead's intense levels, requires players to be in continuous combat, providing constant stimulation and a sense of accomplishing goals through practice and strategy. All traits this type of gamer looks for in their kind of games. In a world where cookie-cutter first-person shooter games are riddled with loot boxes and pay-to-win elements, Cuphead steps far away from these standards to provide a new and fresh experience, despite its rather old art style and rudimentary gameplay. In stark contrast to games with high-quality graphics and environment, Cuphead proves how such a simple idea with such a simple premise can be just as fun and enjoyable. Cuphead provides a unique gaming experience, whereas no games have gone before. It provides a sense of pride and accomplishment once beating a level. Its gameplay and art make its defining qualities,